Good morning, traders. I am Emily Bonney, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Thursday, April 11th. We await the bell this morning after a down day on Wall Street yesterday following hotter than expected inflation numbers. The Dow tumbled 422 points or more than 1%. The S&P 500 gave up nearly 1%, and the NASDAQ shed 0.84%. Bill, let's get into Thursday's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Hi, yes, good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps. We're down 0.33%. They listen, this bearish sentiment is still in the air from yesterday's CPI report, which showed another month of rising inflation. As a result, you've got the Fed, rate cuts now being really kind of pushed out to September. June is pretty much off the table. July is still possible. But the market's kind of saying there's no Fed meeting in August, so it's really September is where we think a rate cut will most likely occur. This morning we got another inflation indicator. We get the PPI final demand report coming out, which is due out before the opening bell. I mean, you hear about what's going on in the Middle East, and these tensions are still red hot and escalating. There could be some real significant, events occurring over there in the next 48 hours. So we want to keep our, news. We need to keep attuned to what's going on over there because it's affecting oil prices. This morning we got an ECB meeting coming out from on monetary policy from the European Central Bank. What can I say? A dovish commentary, dovish statement is very much expected. I mean, everybody really feels that they're going to be lowering rates. But the problem the ECB has is that if they lower interest rates, that's going to devalue their currency. And if they devalue their currency ahead of the U.S. doing a rate cut, that's going to weaken, and that's kind of a negative factor for their economies. So, I'm a little cautious on how they're going to spin the results of today's meeting. Let's take a look at what's going on over in Europe. You get the DAX down 134. It's 134 points at 0.74%. You get the FTSE down 0.3% or 24 points. You get the CAC down 24 points, which is also 0.3%. London, I see that the housing data improved for the 7th month in a row as it came in above forecast, which is good to see. But, it's really about that ECB meeting today. We're looking last night in Asia. Asia was mixed. I mean, Hong Kong fell, 44 points or 0.26%. Japan fell 139 points or 0.35%. But China's Shanghai actually rose 0.23%. And China's softer than expected domestic inflation reading really did bolster, traders' bets that there's going to be additional economic stimulus or policy easing coming out of China in the near future. So, that's why you kind of see that market move up, tick a little higher. Keeping an eye on oil prices. Oil prices were higher this morning. Early this morning, I saw oil prices up. They have since turned negative. WTI, $85.76 a barrel. That's down 0.51%. We're talking Brent is at $90.13 a barrel. That's down 0.39%. What can I say? There's multiple factors in play here. Intelligence services indicate that Iran is preparing for an attack on Israeli interests after Israel supposedly or is thought to have blown up the embassy in the Iranian embassy in Syria. Then yesterday it was announced that the Israeli Air Force hit 3 high-value targets, but one was a vehicle which was said to have had a Palestinian political leader, his 3 sons and grandchildren in the car. Then Israel came out and said any attack on Israel, by Iran, will lead to escalations and hostilities. So that wasn't positive. But that EIA report yesterday that came out was very bearish. It showed a really large build in inventories, and that's kind of what I'm seeing. I'm feeling is the cause for the price action to be lower this morning. But that's what I have for you in terms of a morning market update report, Emily.
Bill, what I find fascinating every morning when you give the market update, that there's a lot of moving pieces that affect the markets on any given day. And you're keeping track of all of this data, information, news items, historical data. The data that came out yesterday, looking ahead to what will be happening today, looking at overseas markets, following different types of news, all using your newsware. I can imagine another way to keep track of all of this action. And we're going to dive into the details here on some of that action, including earnings, economic events, which are hot again today, and other market moving headlines. We're going to start, Bill, with earnings action. We really start to pick up tomorrow. So give us a look at what is going on in terms of earnings action.
Yeah, well, this morning we got a good report from Constellation Brands, ticker STZ, Sam Tom Zebra. The stock's up 0.6%. It was higher. It has since pulled back a bit. They beat by 18 cents and they delivered higher revenue. So, okay, yeah, that's nice to see. CarMax, ticker KMX, Kilo Michael X-Ray, they missed by 17 cents on lower revenue. You're looking at shares of CarMax down 9.34% this morning. And ticker FAST, Fast, Frank Apple, Sam Tom. This is Fastenal. They missed by 1 cent on lower revenue. You look at shares of Fastenal, and it's down 5% this morning. But tomorrow really is the start of earnings season. We got a lot going on. I mean, Citibank is releasing tomorrow morning. Their EPS is $1.54. Their expected move is 4.38%. You got Progressive, the insurance carrier. Their EPS is $2.96, and their expected move is 4.92%. You got JP Morgan, ticker JPM, John Paul Michael. Their EPS is $4.22. Expected move is 3.53%. And then you got Wells Fargo, ticker WFC, William Frank Charlie. Their EPS is $1.10, and the expected move here is 4.38% when they release, Emily.
And Bill, we're going to keep track of all of that right here on NewsWare. So make sure to tune in and day out to get all the updated action on that earnings front. Now to the economic events. As you mentioned, investors are still digesting that hotter than expected inflation numbers, and we have more numbers to be looking at today, which could really gauge sentiment in the market moving forward. So give us a look at everything we should be watching when it comes to economic events.
8:30 a.m. Eastern time, 1 hour before the market opens, we get jobless claims. At the same time, we get the producer price index, the final demand. This is an inflationary report, and the monthly growth is expected to decline 0.3% from March. And that could be, as long as it meets expectations and doesn't deliver worse than expectations, we should be okay. Key today was we got a lot of Fed speak. I mean, one of the Fed speakers today is John Williams from the New York Fed. He's going to be speaking at 8:45 a.m. this morning. You got to pay attention to his comments. Also at noon today, we're going to hear from Boston Fed Bank President Susan Collins, and she's followed at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time by Atlanta Fed Bank President Raphael Bostic. But that's what I have for you in terms of economic news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
Bill, as if that's not enough to be watching all of those earnings, all of these economic events, the Fed speak, you're still keeping track of more. And as I mentioned, the way you're doing this is using NewsWare. You're getting the latest data and information, and you're able to look ahead while also looking behind to make sure that you're seeing everything you need on any given trading day. This morning, you're looking at things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, other catalysts, grouping those stocks together like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks. So, Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
Looking at my data check here, I'm looking at my Dow stocks. I got 21 lower, 6 higher, the rest unchanged. I'm looking at my FANG stocks. I'm showing some small gains in Apple. The rest are lower. Yesterday we were all green, and then then the CPI report came out, and everything turned red on the screen at 8:30. It was just automatic. I don't think that PPI is going to really change the market direction today. I think we're still headed for a lower opening. That's okay. But let's talk shares of Apple, ticker AAPL, which are up a little over 1% this morning. They informed their users in India and 91 other countries that they could be victims of a mercenary spyware attack. It's not positive. Amazon, ticker AMZN, down about 0.3% this morning. In his annual letter, CEO Andy Jassy came out and said generative AI may be the largest technology transformation since the cloud, which itself is in the early stages, and perhaps since the internet. So that's positive to see. Google, ticker GOG, they announced a $1 billion investment in digital connectivity in Japan. Netflix, ticker NFLX. Listen, there's questions about their ability to continue to add subscribers. Remember, their earnings are coming up later this month, and last year's big subscriber ads were caused by that crackdown on password sharing. How are they going to top that? It's going to be difficult for them. Tesla, ticker TSLA, shares are down 0.8% this morning. Sales in China are said to be weak. Musk is going to be meeting with Argentina president, on Friday in Texas, I see. We're talking Dow Jones 30 stocks. What do we see here? Nike. Listen, Nike is trading higher this morning. It's up 1.53% this morning. I see Bank of America's out there indicating estimates have really bottomed, and they think that the turnaround is, the floor is in for Nike. When it hits that 89 level, it's been able to bounce off of that. So yeah, I'm not in disagreement here. Home Depot, ticker HD, they're going to be accessing and continuing their partnership with the Google Cloud. They said that they're going to be accessing Google Cloud's AI capabilities to enhance customer service. Okay, that's cool. Let's talk merger news. This morning, Vertex Pharmaceuticals announced that they're going to be acquired by Alpine Immune Sciences for $65 a share. That's ticker ALPN, Apple, Larry, Paul, Nancy. Also, yesterday was, Paramount Global, stocks in play. We all know the stocks in play. Paul Apple, Richard Apple. But yesterday I saw three directors are stepping down. Now a deal is possible. There's two bidders here. One of the bidders is Sundance Media, which is run by David Ellison. He's the son of Oracle co-founder Larry Ellison. This guy agreed to pay $2 billion in cash to, Sherry Redstone, who is the de facto, owner of Paramount Global, because of the voting rights, because of how the voting rights are set up. She has she has like 80% of the voting shares for Paramount Global. So, if you want to do a deal, she's got to be paid, and she's out there saying she wants $2 billion. She wants $2 billion or no deal. Forget what the share price is. They don't care what the buyout offer is on the stock price. She wants her $2 billion lock, stock, and barrel. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And she's not willing to do a deal unless someone pays her that money. Skydance appears ready to pay that money, but you have Apollo Global, on the other hand, offering a $26 billion all cash deal. So it's, what you've seen here is, since this stock's been in place since December, this stock's only been dropping. And I it's one of those places where it could very well be a take under, rather than a takeover. I'd be wary of being long the stock, using this pending buyout as a catalyst event, because, Sherry Redstone, is playing that game. It's my ball and I'm going home. So I'm really cautious there. Don't want to play Paramount Global. Okay, let's talk guidance news. Stars Constellation Brands, ticker STZ. They see 2025 comparable EPS 1350 to 1380. Street estimates at 1344. That's a nice uptick. What else do we see here? Shareholders meetings 11, ticker ELVN, Edward, Larry, Victor, Nancy. They're having a call today at 8 a.m. to discuss proof of concept in their leukemia landscape. In terms of catalyst calls, JP Morgan came out with a couple of this morning. Corning, ticker GLW, Grace, Larry, William. JP Morgan opened up a positive 30-day catalyst watch on the stock. And TE Connectivity, ticker TEL. JP Morgan also opened up also placed this stock on its catalyst watch list. So TEL, Tom, Edward, Larry, and GLW, Grace, Larry, William, which is Corning. But that's what I have for you in terms of stocks moving the market this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. We've now made it to that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Though there might be sort of a negative sentiment in the air, we're seeing a lot of red, but you're going to still look for opportunities. So what is your pick of the day today?
The Progressive, ticker PGR, Paul, Grace, Richard. Earnings are tomorrow morning. EPS is $2.96. Expected move is 4.68%. That's about $9. Call volume yesterday was 1,439 calls versus 979 puts. Ooh, positive. You got call open interest 29,520 versus 23,565. Positive. Now the major brokers are positive in the stock, seeing buy ratings and price targets increasing, which is nice to see. That's what I want to see going into earnings. I'm looking at the stories out there that saying, hey, premiums are rising and stock should benefit from their earnings. Now they did change their earnings date to a more Gregorian calendar, so that's a little bit of a caution for me. Another sense of caution is, the stock price right now. I mean, it's got a very wide bid ask, 204 to 209. For me to get in this stock, I'm thinking 206 area. I mean, I think the market's going to open up weaker, and I think that'll affect the share price. I think the bid offer, the offer being at 209 and the last price being at 211, that's good for the momentum on the stock. But I just think we're going to see some weakness because of the overall market sentiment is bearish. So I'm looking to get in at a discount this morning. So I'm saying 206.50 as an entry price, but that's my pick of the day. The progressive ticker PGR, Paul Grace Richard, Emily.
Progressive it is on an earnings play today. And coming up, we are going to take a look back at yesterday's pick of the day when we do a recap on that. So don't go anywhere. But first, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our hot off the press segment. Bill, take it away.
Zscaler, ticker ZS, Zebra Sam. Zscaler enters into agreement to acquire Air Gap Networks. Terms were not disclosed. Jack in the Box, ticker JACK. They are partnering with QU to modernize its stores. All right. Spotify, ticker SPOT, Sam, Paul, Oscar, Tom. They're developing tools that would allow subscribers to remix songs, according to sources. It's a cool editing tool. That's a good idea. Crown Castle, ticker CCI, urges shareholders to vote for their director nominees. Proxy battles are in play these days. What else? Macy's avoids their proxy fight by adding two directors recommended by Arkhouse. Costco, ticker COST, released strong March sales numbers. According their e-commerce sales actually rose 28.3% from last year. Very positive. Got to keep an eye on shares of cost, COST. Ticker RLYB, Richard Larry Yellow Boy. These guys received an equity investment from Johnson & Johnson of $6.6 million. Regeneron, ticker REGN, Richard Edward Grace Nancy. The Department of Justice alleges fraudulent inflated Medicare reimbursement rates for ELIA. Google's going to invest $1 billion to improve data connectivity between the U.S. and Japan through 2 new subsea cables. Goldman Sachs treasurer is leaving the bank for Millennium Management, the hedge fund. That's all I'm seeing, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we dive into another day of trading here, let's do that check-in on yesterday's pick of the day, which was Citibank. If our listeners recall, you had to make this call ahead of that CPI print, which was before market open yesterday. So there was caution in the air. The earnings are until tomorrow. We're looking ahead to the big banks, as you told us during your earnings report. Was there a chance for an opportunity there, Bill? How did your call work out?
It actually worked out really well in a sea of red. Citibank came through. I mean, look at it. The stock opened up at $60.52 and fell to $59.97. Now, because of the weak CPI data, all bets were off in terms of my price target. I mean, you can't. You're just guessing at that point because you never know. But I knew to wait a little bit, and I did wait. So I did enter in an order at $60.19. But the stock opened at 60.52, and after that initial push lower down to 59.97, it shot up. It shot all the way up to 61.30. I mean, there's your 1% and more, and that's off the opening price. So if you did do the opening price, you still made your 1%. So and there was that opportunity to get in lower. So Citibank, as a call, worked out very well. In a very negative red day yesterday, Citibank was a winner for us. So you got to appreciate that, Emily.
You do have to appreciate that, Bill. A win there again in a sea of red. And we will check in with you tomorrow about today's progressive pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow to end your trading week with NewsWare's Trade Talk, when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Bonney, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.